Yeah, what's up, guys? Oh man, I just had a thought in my head, and I want to say, my God, I've been noticing. I think I must have been noticing for a while now. I was like, we started having all this woke tard shit happen. The devil starts showing his fangs, and now we're starting to see faith revive again. We still got things we gotta do, like the pornography shit. We gotta get rid of that shit. We have to get rid of all of it. I think we should just ban porn altogether. I think porn should be 100% banned. I don't go fuck with a multi-billion-dollar business or whatever. I think it should be banned 100%. I don't think porn should exist. I mean, like, you could be sexualized a little bit, I guess. But my God, bro, like that shit's getting old. Like, I ain't joking. This shit's just getting old. Damn, 60%. I forgot how high it was. I guess level 30 is gonna be the last one. There's gonna be 30, 66, and then accuracy's great. But yeah. I think with what it is, and that like as soon as they introduced all this like impurities and that, and like they say it in all the cultures of the world, and that any civilization that gets strong enough, big enough, demons love to come in, and they come in very heavily to tempt us. And we learn about how demons work in that, especially the style of what they do. They all do that. They all basically do similar things. Just ones are more than another. Like they say, Baal comes in, does impurities. Tries to get genders to hate each other. Tries to get people to sacrifice themselves to Satan. And that's the main thing that I have to say. That's the course of direction that people would tend to want to go to when they do that stuff. And like, people don't understand. That's what happens almost every single damn time.
Let's see what we've got.
And people themselves potentially don't understand that. Like, this is literally what happens throughout society, throughout history. The fall of mankind comes down with the two impurities. And it always starts with something that we want most, which is love. We want love. We want, to have intimate, relationships with the woman that we desire and that we want to be with. And when it comes down to it, we always want that. Everyone wants that. Every man wants that. I know people try to say specific things, and I say, well, the reason why things are so sexualized nowadays is because of porn. The impurity of porn start the sexualization of women, and women bitch and moan about it and say, well, that's because men. No. See, the thing of it is, you take responsibility. So if you don't want to take responsibility over the way that you are dressing, the way that you are pursuing yourself, that's the reason why. Now, people can say whatever they want to say. Like, before I'd even know anything about, you know, like porn, that say, like, you know, start off, you know, being a little kid, that, you know, I didn't know anything about porn. I didn't give a fuck about it. I didn't really, like, pursue it as anything that I want to be like, oh, okay. But when I start to get into it now, it's okay, you know, I'm happy with playing video games, and I, you know, I like the whole journey of a hero on that. And now it gets to the point that the best thing that we got as humans is the sexualization of someone that we really love. Despite the fact people don't want to look at it from that perspective is, well, it's damning. Because it is. You know, when we lose that intimacy to be with someone that we really fucking love and that, it destroys the whole thing of it. People say, oh, you should have experience in that, and like, fuck a couple people in that, and have a couple relationships, and I said, but the thing is, when you have experience in that, you downfall yourself. No, it's just like when you listen to someone that's a fucking moron, that's a crackhead, or someone that's a massive amount of drugs and shit throughout their whole entire lives. That's, oh, the experience and all this and that is the best thing to do. To a certain extent, experience has always been good. But the problem of it is, you sit there as a human being, and you go through that impurity. Normally what happens is you destroy yourself, slowly. And slowly you get more and more corrupted. And then you stop looking for the heart of a person. You start looking for just the sexualization of the person. That's why we say we have problems nowadays. Because that's what people tend to do. They want to sexualize everything. This is why we have a huge problem with society now. Millennials are pretty much, you know, we're you know, we could still be able to at least try our best, but like, we fucked ourselves. I'm not saying all of us and that, you know, that's not true for a lot of people. You know, some people are traditional, they got married and have kids and shit like that, you know. But there's some of us out there that fell right into the trap.
Get those some bitches!
Monsters a lot faster like this.
More loot? Don't mind if I do.
But yeah, but when people run down this line, and that I'm only going from my personal experience. Like I walked down this line that, you know, I was a fucking idiot. I did a lot of fucking stupid shit. Not a ridiculous amount. I kept my morals pretty straight, but like when it comes down to a lot of different things that I wish I could have done, well, I say better. It would have been nice. You know, like I'm at work and that, I'm talking to one of the guys at work and that, you know, he's having difficulties with himself and that. And I tell him the honest fucking truth. I said, well, so you really have to look at it from this different perspective than that. I'm like, you know, we talk about demons and that. He's like, you know, he's trying to say demons. I don't think demons exist. I'm like, how do you think that demons don't exist? I said, the reason why you don't think demons exist is because you're a Muslim and you believe in demons. You worshiping one That's why they don't talk about it in the Quran. Like, if they don't talk about demons and that, then more or less likely you're probably following one. You know, and I don't care what anybody says. That's literally what it is. Why not mention something so fucking dangerous as, you know, temptations? The devil's not gonna mention it. If he does mention, he's gonna make it as like, oh, well, nah, they're not real. No, don't believe in that bullshit. The truth of it is, they are real. And the devil does that every single time. He's like, nah, it's okay to smoke weed. Nah, just a little bit ain't gonna kill you. That's literally how they work. They're not working in a way of like, do it now, I demand you. Because they can't demand shit of you. That's what's called a temptation. Temptation means you don't have to do it. You can do it. And I say a lot of people intentionally do stuff like that. It doesn't mean you have to. It's still a choice.
Just tell me if you need anything. Well, that should cover it, kid.
No, I'm only saying this stuff because it truly is the honest truth. You get thoughts in your head, the first thing you want to do is think about doing it or not. And like I say, it doesn't mean that you have to. You know, people do all kinds of shit. People say, well, it's just an experience. I'm like, well, what is it? It can be experience. But some experiences you should never have. You don't just try everything out and it's like, well, you know, I tried out everything. Yeah, I tried out all the drugs in the world and that, and then slowly you get fucking corrupted. Slowly you fall into that line or you're just a fucking moron. And then your brain gets demented. You start going through that line of being, you know, less functional. You know, I mean, all the experiences of the world would take you a lifetime to do. So, experiences are just things that you are automatically going to have to go through, for the most part. Some experiences you're going to have to go through because they're put upon you. Put upon you in a way that's just like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to have to go down this line. Yeah, and sometimes you're going to have to.
So, you think the vault is real, eh? Everyone is talking about it. This is the
But most of the times it
biggest
comes
thing that's
down
happened here in a
to
long time. Think of the
just purely
visitors
just
we will
understanding.
have.
Temptations
Listen,
are
if you
thoughts.
find it, what's inside could be worth
And the
a
one thing you have to
fortune.
put into
But only
perspective,
if you get
God
the right
does
partner to
not
help
give
sell
you
it. So, partners?
anything bad. That's number one. People try to say otherwise. I say, you say otherwise because you're fucking stupid. You don't understand because you choose not to understand. You want to pursue life with a dumb attitude because you think you know better, then that's your own stupidity. That you will walk down that life and you will insist on creating stupid. That's just how it is. We all fall into it. We all can't control it. And it's the truth. We can't. That's cool. And that's what it comes down to. And we can say whatever we want to say, which we do. What about this? What about that? Questions are good. That means you're not completely condemned. When you are completely condemned, then you choose not. You will say no immediately. That's how you know you have demons. That's the one thing I talk about with, you know, with the guy at my work, and I know he's a Muslim. And I say, no, there's two different kinds of Islamic people in that. He says, well, yeah, there's a peaceful side, there's a terrorist side of them. I said, but y'all read the same book. So if y'all read the same book, that just means you're only taking the peaceful side of it. And he was saying, you know, he told me, you know, a passage. He's like, well, Allah wants us to be, you know, loving and caring towards everybody. I said, well, if you, yeah, it says that, but also says that you guys should persecute and hate fucking Christians and Jews. And he stopped there, and he's like, it's like, you see, you're not reading the full thing. You're only reading what you want to fucking read. And that's where the problem sets in. If you're only reading what you want to read, then that's the reason why you're having doubts and you're having problems, because it's not fucking true. I said to understand specific things, you have to go through the research of it. You have to go through the love of it. You have to start producing those sort of things. But a lot of people don't go through it. They have to start believing it first. And a lot of people, they don't believe. They refuse to believe. So you're gonna make mistakes in life. That's another thing. That you're not going to. You know, one of the guys kind of like mocked. You know, he definitely like mocked the Bible and that, because I was talking to him and then he was sitting there like, he's like, oh, you know, it's like, oh, it's because, you know, you're a churchy person and that you don't believe in drinking and that. It says, God never told us that we shouldn't drink. We said, don't drink to your fucking drunk. You know, because demons tend to come in when your brain is to that point where you don't like kind of and like he's like completely obliviate from the actual truth itself. And I'd be like, that's because you're a fucking moron. I don't need to fucking sit there and tell you that you're just a fucking idiot. The number one thing that what this person tends to do, that, you know, I have nothing against this person, but he just doesn't know. That's what Jesus keeps telling people. You just don't know. It's not your fault you don't know. I mean, you choose not to know. You choose not to know things, but you still have to sit there and see that some people just won't know throughout their whole entire life, and that they'll sit there and they'll be like, and they'll think the world is sunshines and fucking rainbows. They'll believe in stupid shit like Dwayne Johnson never took steroids. They will believe in really stupid shit like that. And then you're just like, wait a minute, he does take steroids. Oh no, oh man, there's no way. No, he's not. I believe in that he's not that bad of a fucking person in that. So what do you mean? Like, if you believe in such stupidity, that means that the truth is literally going to be like, okay, yeah, you're just fucking stupid. And then they get mad because they're called dumb. It's like, well, it's because you are dumb. What do you mean? You can't be smart and dumb at the same time. You're just fucking dumb. It's like, it doesn't matter what you say, you're just fucking stupid. And it's okay, because being dumb is, at least when you admit to it, it formulates a way of saying that I'm able to learn. The fundamental thing of almost everything when it comes down to humans is learning. The biggest thing that we have an issue with is our pride oversees what we need to learn. And a lot of times, it's the fucking truth. And we decide not to know the truth of things, and we make up shit, which is the brain rot that we have in society.
Hey, thanks for keeping that dick bag alive long enough for me to pound on later. Much as it pains me to admit, Luckin knows the area better than anyone. Might want to use him while he's alive for me not having killed him and all.
You know, and our biggest thing is to know the truth. Because when he said that stuff and that, He was mocking God. He was mocking our Savior and saying what he said. He says, as long as you're glorifying God with whatever you do, it's acceptable. It's the glorification of the Father. Now, of course, it comes down to specific things, and that, like, you know, lusting that, you know, I don't think you should, you know, do that, but, you know, if you give thanks to God for the pleasure that he created, because he created pleasure, he created love, you know, because he is love, he created all the things that we, you know, fundamentally like to do, our personalities and that, everything, every little thing that we do in our life and that is created from him. People want to structurally think otherwise and say you can think otherwise, but it doesn't matter what you think because you're an idiot. You thinking stuff that doesn't mean shit. To yourself, yes, but to others, no. That's why it comes down to personal perspectives. Other people's thoughts potentially don't matter unless they're trying to give you wisdom. And most people don't want to hear wisdom because, well, they're fucking retarded. They look at wisdom as something of a control. I said advice is just advice. You're supposed to give advice. Just like when people say, if you don't want to listen to me, that's fine, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to hear. And people say, what does that even mean? Well, it means that you're not really wanting to hear it, but you're going to hear it anyway. It means you don't believe in it at that time. You know, there's a lot of things I can think of, the stuff that I, you know, didn't believe in when I was younger. But now I believe in it now. Now I see the perspective of why people told me these things. And how much is because, well, it's just the way life is. Which is true. There's some things in life that are what they are. And the fundamental thing of a lot of things, especially comes down to learning. Is that people themselves, they go through so much torment in life that sometimes they just forget. And they blame their torment, which they do a lot, on the past. And they say, why does God let things happen? Because it's supposed to make you stronger in some reason. Why do I have to have someone die on me? It's the choices that they made that led them to their death. Why are some people living longer than others? We can ask these questions all day long, and people do. He said, why do I have to ask questions? I said, because death is never the end. That's why God doesn't look at it from our perspective. God knows where you're going to go if you give the heart to him. God knows where you're going to go if you try your hardest to follow the rules of that. And he knows that you're going to be tempted. He knows that you're going to go through all this hellscape. Faith till the end gives you eternal life for a reason. Well, there you go. So if you keep faith until the end, you will get eternal life. So living 100 years is not a lot to live if you give eternal life. True. And that's the basics of it. And when people don't want to see that from that perspective, they'll say, well, we only live once. Well, then you're stupid. Oh, we evolve around a sun. Well, you're stupid. Well, we sit there and know, demons aren't real. Why do you get tempted all the time? The amount of excuses you make up is just like anybody else. Like Thomas never believed that Jesus was God until he resurrected himself and saw the nails on his hand. and the nail on his feet, which is the holes that he had. Exactly the point. I love this one. That was so legendary. That is a fat ass legendary. Everyone's gonna burn. I don't know why, for some reason, this thing always gives me a legendary, and always find one all through It's pretty good. But the truth of it is, you know, this is the sort of life that we live. This is the honest truth. No, and sometimes it's really hard to see when you're younger than that, because the devil likes to grab you really quickly. He wants to tempt you when you're young. And when you start falling into that temptation when you're younger than that, that's when you start to see, okay, life starts to fade away a little bit for the path that you actually need to take. And sometimes it's difficult. And I know, like, my temptations in that. I know what I personally struggle with in that. But it's never an end-all thing. Life doesn't end just because you get tempted once you fall in line with the sin. You're gonna sin no matter what. Like, it's gotta happen. And you can know that you're doing it too. Oh god, what the fuck? Bullet over your ass. Photos. Like, everyone has issues. Like, the number one thing that I seem to fall in, that I used to fall in the most is anger. But now I don't. Anger is really easy to get rid of. All you have to do is know the truth. Loss seems probably the only thing in life that's the hardest thing to deal with. Because it's always been the hardest thing. Throughout history, even the wisest, the most sanctimonious people in that dealt with loss. All the saints deal with loss. It's always the fundamental thing that's the hardest fucking thing to get rid of. If that's like the last sin that you have to get rid of, then I think you're doing pretty fucking good compared to most people. At least that's what I think, as someone that's going down this line. You're not going to be perfect with this shit. You're always going to look at beauty in that, but you're always going to catch yourself. Like, when I say I talk about women and that, when I look at a woman, that I try to look at their heart. Their bodies are always going to be there, but I look at their heart. That's where their attraction truly comes from. And I see that they could do better than what they're doing. That they could be happier than where they're happy. But the thing with it is, sometimes they just don't want to go through with it. Because it's difficult. It's a pain in the ass. The thing is, they're not lying. It's extremely difficult. Because how do you do something and get rid of something like your past? Your past is something that's the most difficult thing to get rid of.
Is there no end to my
Because you always gotta wonder, like, okay,
power?
can I how do I, alleviate myself? Repent. I've been telling people all the time at my job that I guess just repent. Don't ever stop repenting. Talk about your sin. Talk about the things that you worry about. Confess to others. For that speaking that truth is going to set you free. That's why Jesus always talks about to forgive others, for that God forgives you. It's always about trying to show mercy as much as you can, even though it's fucking difficult to do because of our pride. Like one of the older, like an old man came into my job and on a walker that he was with his wife and I didn't open up the door for them because I didn't catch it in time. I'm like, okay, I was focusing on something else. So I felt guilty. And so what I did is I opened the door, after, when they were going to leave. And I told the guy, God bless. And immediately he said thanks. And he was an older guy. I could tell he's probably like in his 80s, like, late 80s and that. And the thing was, his structure was so relieving that he was just sitting there. He was just like, yeah. He's basically saying thank you. He was, younger people this age don't see it. These people lived 80 years ago, so they were born in the 40s. They saw an enormous amount of shit. And so when we look at it from these perspectives, they've been through more than us. Way more than us. They saw, the propaganda, the bullshit. And trust me, there's a lot of bullshit. The only thing I would have to say, from my own perspective, I'm going to leave here in about an hour or so. I said the only thing that they never get rid of is their faith in God. People could say, well, why? Because God's always there.
I am Atlas, and you too can see what it feels like to hold the power of the gods in your hands.
Oh, these are getting really strong now. That's a pretty good pistol. But that's the thing of it is, God's always there. It doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter. We ask for that. We ask for mercy. We ask for love. We ask for all the things that everybody wants. Our desires are for Him to keep, for Him to produce, And of course, some of our desires are fucking retarded, and I think some of our desires are fucking ridiculous sometimes. The thing of it is, that's in between you and Him. It's in between you and God. You talk and you try to alleviate your own personal things in that. Because when people worry about other people and that too much, they don't worry about themselves.
Let's get out of here.
And I trust you. A lot of people don't worry about. Well, there's a chest up there. Oh, let's see that.
You don't need to be a better shot. You just need to shoot more bullets.
There it goes. I like the chest up here. I didn't know it was up here until now.
Look at all this stuff.
Ooh, volcano. This is actually a really good fucking gun. fire. Got to shoot fucking forever. Got another legendary. That's it again. Yeah, Volcano usually does a lot of fire damage. Getting close to max level on that, starting to find legendaries. I haven't found all the legendaries in this game, at least that I know of. I found quite a bit of them. In this area, for some reason, certain areas have a high ass chance of giving you legendaries. The thing of it is, they keep it like certain percentages of certain like chests and that you find have a higher chance of giving you legendaries. That's why you have to go through this part. Like, there's 3 chests in here, and you got this too. This, I consider this a chest. You check this, check all this crap. Okay, nothing there. You know, you go over here. This one, because they're all gonna be in their 40s, so at least they'll give me something to work with. Grab this one.
Let's see what we've got.
Check out everything. See, I don't think Borderlands 2 really has like the respawnable chest thing. Maybe they do. I don't know. I can't remember. No, they do boss fights. They specifically don't make you fight bosses in this game. They want you to do the chest hunt, which is fucking way better. See, there's legendary right there. Just found another one. Same one I found before. Oh yeah, it shoots like a cross. Okay, so
Enough walking.
so we're gonna go over here. Search this. I mean, I'll probably end up getting some of this quest done that I have right there or another one or that. There's one over here. Huh? I've been finding normally the same kind of legendaries. I don't know how many legendaries there are. I know there's a couple. Oh my god, that fucker bounced. It shoots pretty fast. It's kind of slow, but I can always get that up. There we go. Check this again. Just make sure. Okay, then we start over again. This is why I like this game so much. I'm not saying you can't do this in Borderlands 2. Of course you can. You can do boss hunts and that. And normally I tend to like to go through and just face all the main bosses and that, and just go through. So just constantly resetting after one. Just go through because you can teleport to all of them. That just go through, fight them all, get your loot, and then go back in because it is gonna give you more badass points than that. Which continuously doesn't really fucking do much of anything then, because I'll say, fuck, I played that game for so damn long than that. My character had, like, the most I had was, like, maybe close to 30%. Shoots pretty slow. The damage is
You don't need to be a better.
Yeah, it's better. It shoots a little bit slower, but
Sean, you just need to shoot.
so it's having so much. For those reasons, we get legendary at SMG. Yeah, we're almost there. I'm ready to take my big old donkey shit pretty soon. Getting there. Yeah, I've been eating my stuff and that. Of course, I keep forgetting to ring that. But ooh, 500. Ooh, that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. Yeah, after this, I'm gonna have to go.
Let's get you rolling.
Come on, spawn in. I gotta blow
Some
ass.
wheels.
Let's go! Oh, it's gonna be it might be a finisher. Yeah, the animation got in the car is kind of slow.
Those guns absorb a lot of recoil, allowing you to stay accurate throughout the
Hands. I'm gonna fuck this up because I got it. Fuck. Oh my god, dude. Come on. Oh my god. Stop it, stomach. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Hope I'm lucky.
And a purple. Okay. Ugh. Okay, back to the legendary hunt. Yeah, it's just best just to do it like this. Guess you will have to talk about. Yeah, supposedly some rhino senator from somewhere lost his race, and he's just a cop out. The thing is, with our country and with our government, our government matters to a certain extent because they're supposed to lead the people to a certain extent. I truly believe God always seems to, we try to pray for our people and that to lead us better. I have to say, sometimes it is very difficult because people are fucking stupid, and there's a lot of dumb fucks out there. With that, we always seem to have a lot of fucking issues with people. Because there's outrageously dumb motherfuckers out there that they're just pieces of shit fucking people. But fundamentally, we try to stay away from the dumb fucks of society, but occasionally we have to deal with them. The biggest worry of almost everybody's life is trying to convince people of something that's actually true. And that's the hardest thing to do. Convince a really uneducated, stupid person the truth. And the only reason why some people actually, tend to like fall in line with it is because they finally actually critically think enough that we're just like, yeah, maybe they are lying to us. That's happened with me in like 2019 that Trump basically says, yeah, this is a political statement, and he wasn't wrong because it was. They use this to win an election, which is basically what they're trying to do. People try to say, well, it's real in that. Yeah, the virus might be real in that, but the concept of apocalypse is it's unlogical. It doesn't make sense. We as human beings try to make sense out of things. And unfortunately, when we can't make sense out of things tonight, we get to that point where we're just like, okay, well, what is making sense? Oh, and they try to do it again for this election season. Same thing, the haunted virus. They brought back fucking Ebola and that. They bring back all these fancy words that mean massive death of people and that. But the thing of it is, the only ones that die are no one. They said, what do you mean? There's proof of that. People die every day. We have to know that. There's the boomer generation. There's probably enormous amount of boomers because of, these people had, back then after the Second World War, they all had like 6, 7 kids. They popped out babies a lot. Like, we have to understand, that's just how it was. People were baby making machines back then because life was comfortable. They could work a really hard they could work a, a decently hard job and produce an enormous amount of wealth. And they could have baby after baby after baby after baby because the mother can take care of all the children like she's supposed to. And then the dad can work and provide like he's supposed to. It's not to say the mother couldn't work. I look at it from my my grandfather and my grandpa's, when they were, growing up in that back in the, 40s and 50s and shit.
Let's get some wheels.
Like my grandmother used to work. She did paper filings and stuff like that, but she was a very quiet, non-nagging woman. She respected, my grandfather. Because he did things that, that most men nowadays would fucking shit their britches doing.
Jacob scans do one thing really well. Power. And honestly, what else do you need?
And like, so every time I hear the stories of, say, my grandfather and how he used to work in that.
Let's see what we've got.
The stories always went, he used to work, 12, 14-hour days being a pole climber. Just imagine, he worked until shit got done. Why do you do it? Because it had to get done. His job was respected. Nowadays, people don't respect the jobs they have because they're worried about the money they get. I say, if the job is respectful enough, the money's going to come in no matter what. People just say, well, I don't want to work 50 hours a week because I want to have my days off so I can sit there, blah, blah, blah. Well, then you build up your stamina. People back then, when they were entertained after they got off work. They got off work and that, they were tired, and that's like, oh, I'm going to have me some beers and that, and just relax for a little bit. They turn on the TV and that, they relax and that, and do all the stuff they need to do. And then, they went to bed with a smile on their face and that, and that was it. They got back up, and then they did their job all over again. They went like, oh, hey, guys, how you doing? They're like, oh, yeah, we're ready for another hard day of work and that. And, of course, it was just a bunch of men working together in that, because, you get women working with men, you always have some type of drama. That's why women shouldn't work with men. I'm not saying women shouldn't work, they shouldn't work with men. Because you bitches always want one thing, you want security. The best way to get it is going after a man. Doesn't matter what these feminists fucking say, and that's what they do right now. They throw their vaginas out and say, please, be with me. Because I'm at the breaking point of age that I can't find any dude in that, so I'm gonna do whatever it takes to throw myself at someone. Desperatism comes one of their natures. That's what we're dealing with today. People are having massive desperate issues in that. They say, well, I want to be in relationships and that. I say, why do you want to be in relationships? I say, you want to be in relationships because you see everybody else doing it. So you're just a follower, which makes you weak. It makes you fundamentally weak because you can't follow your own desires. You want to have someone do it for you. That makes you lazy as fuck and weak. If I see someone, especially nowadays, all the technology now, you can literally just do anything you want to do. But you have to choose something. Like, what do you really like to do?
100% more awesome. Also, torque doesn't make the guns out of freaking wood.
Like, one of the things, I feel like playing video games, like talking about stuff that actually will make sense to a certain extent, depending on who you are. But I was say other people in that, when you look at especially younger people, they're so like they don't get it, and it's like, well, it's because someone has to teach you the hard life. Well, I don't want to have a hard life. I'm like, so when you put it into this perspective, having a hard life doesn't mean life is going to be terrible for you. It's going to be negative for you. Having a hard life is willing to succeed and get better at something, whatever that it is. I used to be really bad at communication. There's some words I can't even speak. So I speak in a way that fits me. And sometimes I have to look at it and readjust the way that I do things. But that's just how it is. We have a worldly thing and a heavenly thing. The heavenly thing looked at us for who we really are. The worldly thing looks at us for who they want us to be. There's two different things. The world doesn't know us. God does. So the world wants us to bend the knee to what they think is best for us. If you're a peasant, you know, stay a peasant. If you want to get lucky and get this stuff and that, oh, we got a lottery for that. You can win the lottery, win hundreds of millions of dollars and that, you know, but you don't have to work hard for your money. It's like if someone won the, say, like, I always bring this up. I think a lot of people do. If I won the lottery today, whatever though, whatever, how much money that it might be. Could be 100 million, could be 200 million, could be you know, 1.2 billion dollars. People look at, man, that's a lot of money. That the first thing that people intentionally like to do is like, okay, how am I gonna spend it? They'll be like, oh, I don't have to worry about it because I have money. No, the vultures set in. The people vultures. That's one of the biggest things that sets in the most. The people vultures will set in, and they'll look at you and be like, hey stranger. You'll get a bunch of hey stranger texts that, unless they don't, you know, figure out that it's you, obviously, you know. But when they doing that, it's been proven every single time people do these type of things that they get the same type of reaction. Oh hey, let's be friends. Oh hey. Because with great power comes great responsibility. And that's the same because of the Spider-Man scene.
Get out of here.
This is literally how it is. People go after power, and they always will. Always, always, always. It does not matter. People could say whatever the fuck they want to say, and say there's this and that, this and that, you're full of shit. You get these guru stupid men that they say, oh, the way you talk to a woman and that, she'll love you even though you're a fat ass piece of shit person. Nah, women go for power. Men go for beauty. Damn, that just blew him up with one shot. That worked. And people can deny it all the fuck they want. I say, you're just denying the inevitable. You will see it. Like, when you get stronger as a man, you build a lot of muscle. That muscle is power. Women attract to that. You want to say men do too? Of course men do. Weak men attract the powerful men. Women attract the powerful men.
Let's see what we've got.
Whatever we want to think, that's literally what it is. When you read a book and that, who do you attract to? The fucking hero. Who do men attract to? Let's say women attract to the man hero. Who do women attract to? Men attract to super hot, big, busty fucking bitches. They always gotta have the big, huge titties and never have super hot bodies and that. I mean, men can be more, you know, hot and that, but like, I listened to what my ex say, and this is a very prime example of how women actually work. It was really funny that she said one of the jobs that she worked at her GM, and she was like, you know, talking about her GM and that, and she said he was like overweight, but he was, you know, he was a masculine man, like he was thick in that, he was in charge. And she immediately says, dude, like, for some reason, I wasn't really attracted to him, and like the way he looked in that, but I was just attracted to him. I said, so you're attracted to him because he was masculine? She's like, yeah. Like, that's exactly what it is. When you take control, women have the hots for that. Looks don't matter. Looks do matter with a woman, and you have to be attractive enough to a certain extent, but it's that control. That control, the implication of power. Yes, having a good body in that is powerful. No doubt. But the more you look at it, the more you start to see. Yeah. So you look at it from, you know, the perspective of stuff. If you're a man that's, you know, having issues with stuff like that, lift weights. Show more masculinity. Show more drive. Men don't respect men unless they're strong. Like men have to respect me because they know that I'm strong. I only say that because I get respect from a lot of different kind of men that see me work hard. They know that I work hard. They know that I'm strong in that. They see my physique in that. They see things. They're like, oh yeah, they know how to look at power for power, and that's what they do. So every time I meet any man that, you know, that looks at me that, they're gonna know that, okay, it looks like he's in charge of shit. Other men will say, oh, I thought you were the manager. I get told that all the time. Why do they say that? Because it looks like I'm in charge. You know, I talk about specific things in that, you know, and like one of the guys that I work with in that, you know, I talk about him off and on now because he's going through a masculinity trait that he's trying to become more like a man. He's looking at it from a different perspective. And he's starting to learn because, you know, he has to. You know, if he doesn't do it, then who else is going to do it? Exactly. I see. I'll try it from here. Oh man, I need.
Lally-Wan guns shoot more lightning than the next leading competitor.
About time. Getting the sneezes. Yeah, I gotta get these sneezes in. Yeah, I always seem to get them when I fully wake up. Oh my god, this jump's so stupid. There we go. I'm blowing this up. Yeah, the volcano gun's amazing. Yeah, I'm very lucky I found like those 2 legendaries. You can definitely tell, or 3 legendaries, you definitely tell how hard it is to find. I've done this like, what, 3 or 4 times already? Yeah. I think a little bit tough left. Okay.
Forget your ride.
Let's get some wheels.
I always get one of those. I like how they get stuck on there because the way the graphics work in that, you get stuck on a lot of shit in this game.
Atlas spares no expense in making guns that excel in every area.
Fucking jump, you moron. But yeah, it all comes down to survival now. Like, it's easier to survive if you have someone with you. But that's when life gets kind of hard, though. Because you're like, oh shit. But anyway, enough about all that theological, psychological stuff and that. Let's talk about my job. Well, anyway, nothing's really happening too much. There hasn't been anything. Just been my the lady that, you know, we have a lady that's pregnant. She's about to have a kid, and that, so we gotta deal with all that stuff and that. She's about to go out for I don't know how long and that. Can't say I really care now because it is what it is, you know. But All I can say is that, you know, she's gonna be out for a little bit in that soon. Actually, I think it's happening. I think it's already happened. And so everyone's struggling and panicking, go through all this bullshit and that. Oh my god. And one of the ladies that works with us, she's very panicky. I talked about it before that. She's one of the ladies there that has a really, like, super hot ass body and that, but, you know, she's crazy. You know, she has that crazy mentality. But then again, most girls that are really attractive seem to have a little bit of issues with psychological shit. You know, some people like to get mad over it and be like, oh my god. Now, when you have too much beauty in that, the reason why you have the lack of discipline is because you've been treated like a princess the bulk of your life, and that's why most people act the way they act. As you know, like being a skinny woman in that, your attraction goes up dramatically. Just being skinny. Having big tits, it goes up dramatically. Just having big tits. Having a big butt goes up dramatically. Obviously, if you have both, it goes up tremendously dramatically. And then when you have the full package in that, which some women tend to do, you are probably a fucking tier 10 super hottie fucking woman. Got it. And it's better too. Damn. It shoots up a slower now, but it's 168 better. That is ridiculous. That I got something that much damage forward to. Wait, is it Model 1? It's gonna be a different brand of gun. Oh, it's supposed to be. That's a higher level too. So yeah, it has a high chance. It has a very high chance. But that does enormous amount of damage. That's so weird. Yep, it does a lot of damage. With this sniper, I will screw you. Okay, bro, this is fucking broken. I mean, yeah, I'm like 3 levels higher than these guys, so I probably would end up taking like 1,000, but that is fucking hilarious. I think what it is because it explodes too, so I think it does extra damage because of that. I find that kind of funny. I found that one. Okay, it's a lot better. But anyway, so like it's just a lot of management trying to figure out how they're gonna work the shifts and that while she's gone. That and unfortunately, no, we're gonna have to do what we got to do because it's a job. And people want to panic about it. They're like, oh, I'm panicking about it. Like, dude, just do your job. Oh my god, it's like, dude, like most people have been working. Here's how I look at it. I look like this. If you go into work, you're either the panicker or you're not a panicker. Either you listen and you do your best and you don't worry about the bullshit, or you freak the fuck out and you go crazy and you do all the bullshit. Well, the ladies are working at, you know, she's potentially thinking that she's gonna lose her job because she's done really stupid shit. I said, well, stop doing stupid shit then. Like, I don't know what to say. When you stop doing the stuff that gets you in trouble, and you start to think other ways of dealing with stuff instead of just sitting there and just saying, hey, you know, I don't want to do it because, you know, I shouldn't have to. Well, your job depends on it. Yeah, and I keep telling people, and that, especially management, is like, this ain't a daycare center. We're not babysitting people. You guys are all adults. You guys are all old enough to should know better. This is just a job. This isn't a comparison. We're not going to get mad because other people don't want to work the speed that we want to work in that, or blah, blah, blah. I said, people work the way they work because they get paid. If you're worried about blah, 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 then go fuck yourself and get another job somewhere else. The solo bullshit, and basically these are just people that are just, you know, they're just fucking stupid, but They constantly push these like little narratives and that. They're like, oh, you gotta do this. It's like, dude, it's like, how about you just shut the fuck up and just work, dude? You yapping your ass off and doing all that stuff, and that doesn't really prove anything. I mean, you can say what you want to say. It don't mean that I have to listen. People get mad at that stuff a lot. They're like, well, I have freedom of speech. But it goes both ways, you fucking moron. And then they stop and they pause. Like, well, you want to... Conversations are a mutual thing to do. It's not to say I'm right, you're wrong. It's like an opinion. But sometimes your opinions could be wrong. Someone's going to be right. It also depends on their mindset. So the fundamental mindset, say, of me, personally, because I know myself very well, and I know people very little. Maybe some people a little bit more than others, not depending on the personality, not whatever.
Atlas spares no expense in making goods that excel in every area.
So I look at, one of the guys I work with that. He's kind of like me. Very impatient, very, upsetting, has, doesn't have a purpose to live, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is. That was him before. Now he has a purpose to live because he finally got something he always wanted. And say one of the things that he always wanted, supposedly how he is now, he wants to have a family now. I go, okay. So your purpose was to have a family now. Well, it doesn't matter who it was with, evidently. It was a random fucking person, and you're like, oh, you're hot enough to get me hard. Let's go ahead and do stuff or whatever fucking do. But then again, that's just how I think of it.
Let's get some wheels.
I don't really know the truth behind it. I'm just accusing. See, I can say stuff without putting to the pressures of being like, oh, that's how it is. No, I don't know how it is. That's why it's called speculation. You speculate. So the way I look at things in that, I look at things from a different perspective.
Oh, can't you blow up some of my rides? Bandits or no, those were some pristine tail-getting machines.
Let's see what we've got.
I gotta get ready to go. I'm gonna get ready fully like 20 minutes beforehand, so I know I'm gonna purr along and talk like a dumbass. But yeah, so like, when I personally look at things, I look at things from a speculational point, depending on what I know about a person. The way a person acts, you kind of know up front. People tend to be who they are when they're upset. They tend to show the true colors when they're emotionally going through something. Because temptation normally is emotional. And normally it's a negative emotion. People don't show positive emotions too much. They show negative emotions. The only time they ever show positive emotions is, frankly, when it's like when they're in love. Or when they're laughing, or doing something that motivates them to be happy, And normally it's a choice. You don't have to laugh. You feel that you want to laugh, but you don't have to laugh. That's pride. Your emotions should be shown to a certain extent, especially positive ones. You should show your positive emotions. Not negative emotions? No. Negative emotions should not be shown, because negative emotions are fucking stupid. But people intentionally want to show negative emotions because they feel that they have to. Now, of course, certain things that you have to get across is that there's certain things you have to express. If you feel that something is annoying you, or something that is, bothering you, you should talk about it. Because communication alleviates tension. And we talk to someone about it, hence why therapy is a thing, which is fucking stupid because therapy does nothing for you, honestly. All you're doing is communicating. Okay, well, if there's a problem, you talk. That's where prayers come in. Prayers is just literally confessing yourself to God and trying to understand something. I'll show you an example. I did it once. I was dealing with that chick that I used to work with. It was a huge heartbreaking thing for me. I really like this person a lot in that, and I know that she, wanted to hang out with me all the time. But the thing of it is, she didn't want to confess that she wanted to be close to me, even though that she was constantly wanting that. So her emotions were saying, I like this guy because I like being with him, but I don't want to be with him because the world's telling me dating someone that's older is bad. That's the situation. I was older than her by like 10 or so years now, whatever it might be. And in her mind, she was thinking, no. But the way that I vibed with her was telling me yes. So the world was demanding her, because you're not going to be cool and people are going to look at you a different way. But heaven was commanding it in a different way. I said, well, if everything connects, we like each other, we like being with each other, we want to be close to each other, more or less her than me, because, I already knew what was going on that, so I didn't want to, make it, a point of like, oh, everyone's everyone already fucking knew. She expressed it a lot. But the whole point of it is that it never came into inflation. It never came true. It was true in a spiritual sense, because I felt it, she felt it, was very obviously there. But I always remember the breaking point. And the thing is that she didn't quite understand. Her mind didn't understand what was going on. But she felt. And I remember the scene, and I always talk about the scene, because it's anyone that, goes through a type of scenario that is, real life to me, but to others it's a scenario, you kind of see it from that perspective. So we got to name all the points. And this is where it kind of got to the point that everybody has to understand. If you fall in love with someone, love is an eternal thing. One. This world is not eternal, as in our flesh is not eternal. So when we die, we go into spirit. Always, every single time, doesn't matter what anyone says, doesn't matter what religion you are, your religion's stupid, satanic as fuck probably, especially if you don't believe in, Jesus, because you're just, I don't know how you can't, because his word has been right every single time since forever. And so we go down this scenario now. Number one, I knew this person was lonely because she had that lonely mentality. She got attention because she was beautiful. Very, very attractive, cute, very, very beautiful. She got a lot of man attention, but the attention wasn't love, it was lust. And I talked to her about it before anything got to the point of anything really happening, which was just us just hanging out a lot. And when you try to explain this to someone that doesn't understand love, they get to the point, well, I don't know. So the person, confessed to me a couple things. Then I'm just like, okay, if you're going through those things, it's because you just don't know. It's a knowledge barrier. You're not having the wisdom to understand the truth. You don't understand love because you don't understand God. If you don't understand God, you can't understand love. You don't understand anything in this world because love is the essential binding of all of humanity. But people bind to sin, and they say, well, I love doing drugs. You don't love doing drugs. The feeling that you get is happiness. If you took that happiness away, which you'll be lonely, you'll be lack of love. I say love and loneliness go hand in hand. When you love yourself, you're never alone. People say, well, I'm lonely. You're only lonely now because you're thinking of what the world wants you to do. Stop thinking what the world wants you to do. Start being who you want to be with God, because God implicates that's what you should be because that's how He made you. If God made you be a specific way in that, and you're at your happiness by doing the things that you enjoy the most, you know, without sinning too much, then more or less likely, guess what? Then you're going to be having a happy life. That's why I say right now. People keep talking about relationships. Like, I hear stuff like, I say, you know what? It's like, I learned from my experience, which I wish I had never had these experiences in that, but I don't know, unfortunately, I did. And I say it, and I'll say it again and again and again. And I say it a lot on my streams now. I say, with my experiences, that if I tell another person, hey, fall in love with someone and make sure that person loves you back. Show love, get love. It's a take and give situation. Make sure that person honors you as you honor them. And yes, women should be submissive to man, as a man should be a provider for a woman. That's what love actually does. A man loves to protect what is that they love. All men know that. Fundamentally, we all know that. We always want to protect something that we love. And since we love women, we want to protect women and children, because we love children too. Now, people always think, well, love, nowadays they think love is always sexual. Love is not sexual, never was sexual. You're just a fucking retard, okay? No, to be very bold with this, you're so out of the loop and you're so satanic that you don't even know that the devil has his dick so far up your fucking ass that you don't even understand what love actually is, because you don't care about it. You care about the feeling that you get when you get pleasured. That's basically what a lot of people think. Oh, if I get pleasure in that, is that what love is? No, that's not what love is. And yes, I say it like this because this is what people actually tell me. The Gen Z people that were like 20, 19, 20, 21, they tell me these things in their 20s. They say, well, I don't know what love is unless someone bangs me. I said, well, that's not love. That's lust. You're getting the simple pleasures of life without actually knowing what love actually is. So you think that's what love is just getting fucked, getting drugged, smoking weed and feeling a stress release. I said, love is like, it's very simple once you know it, but it's very complex when you don't know it. And everyone looks at love differently. Well, yeah, because you have your own individual way of looking at things. But God stands true and stays the same no matter what the fuck people say. God's love is just, when you look at it from, say, you have to look at it from your own perspective. So we'll go through my perspective. Love, how I felt it before, is harmony. That's how I think about love. And I said it's love comes down to where worry doesn't exist. And this is what Jesus said, the famous words of Jesus. Truth will set you free. So what does that actually mean? That means the truth of everything, creation, God, and everything else, will set your mind free to where things won't matter anymore, because you know what the truth is. Number one, when it comes down to God, God wants us to be with someone. He does, because God never was without a relationship, because God is three persons. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. That relationship is bound by love. They communicate perfectly with each other, they're holy together perfectly, they all do the things together. One might take different roles than another, of course, because God is, well, the eternal spirit of almightiness. So he looks at things from a different perspective. And his way of being is a different perspective than mortals. But doesn't mean we can't try to understand. We can, but the problem with this, understanding an omnipotent one is well, basically impossible. People that are wiser than us try to understand God through what God tells us, through the Bible and through, other means of what God does. Can't understand it. And people want to say, you try to understand something that is literally impossible. And then we want to say, why? And then we could say, well, because it comes down to it, understanding all things is impossible. It's not going to happen in our life. It never will happen in our fleshy life. The only time stuff like this happens is at the end of days when we all get judged. The plan will be revealed when it already happened. Yeah, and Jesus actually said that. He said it will be revealed to us, and then everybody will sit there like, oh, that's the reason why. Yeah. Back to probably 4:10 or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying that. So every time we try to think about things, and we gotta think about it. Okay, what's real? What's not real? Well, demons are real. Now they're not creatures that come around. We have to look at from the perspective. God's in control of everything. All the demons, all the angels, all the celestial spirits. There's no such thing as like actual demons. Like they think of that demons or angels. Actually, they're fallen angels. All they're fallen angels. There's billions of them. They're all over the place. They get the grunt minions that go back and tell their masters, the things that they have like a certain like category of demons and that. And people don't want to hear that shit. They're like, what do you mean? What? This stuff actually exists? Well, yeah, it fucking exists. It's literally all around here. Now, what demons do, depend on the person. Demons structurally do what God wants them to do. And temptation is just you falling in line with sin. But sometimes being a sinner is the way to grow. Because temptation is not just something bad. You can't be... You try to be pure your whole entire life, but the truth of it is there's no way that you can. You're going to go through a struggle. So I put it from this perspective. I won't say why and I won't say how, but I'll say it in a way that hopefully you're trying to understand. Some people get a calling, and when people get callings, they potentially their lives change. When their lives change in a dramatic sense, like they go through a really terrible part in their life, that's God's calling to get you stronger. And when you get stronger, you start to understand why God goes after certain people and wants them to be strong because they have a purpose. And sometimes that purpose might be different than others, which is particularly true. That's just how it works. But when you go through something terrible, like when people say this, like, why does everyone have? Some people have a great fucking life in that they're rich, they got all this pussy and booty in there, they got all the things that life gives them, the world gives them. I say because the world loves them. The world adapts to them because the world knows, Satan knows that they're going to be happy and they're never going to confess to God that they are sinners. They're never going to confess to God that they need to repent. They're never going to sit there. They might show mercy to people, and sometimes people do as they get older. But that's the challenge. I'd rather be poor or just wealthy enough to live my life in comfort than be a rich person that has too much pride to understand that this world and everything in it doesn't really matter because you lose it all at the end anyway. So, why do I say it like that? Well, because the honest truth is the honest truth. We all know we're gonna die. Some people don't want to believe in God. They don't want to believe that there's an afterlife. You know? Okay. You can believe in that. But what is true, what is false is false. And what is true in general, that God is real. Father, Son, Holy Spirit is the natural thing in life. And it doesn't matter what we intentionally think unless we know the truth. People get mad at that shit. Like, oh, wait a minute, you're trying to say this and this and that and this and this and that. I'm just trying to speak to you what is fundamentally true. Get mad, that's okay. Anger's part of the understanding. You get angry because you don't know. Just like when people get angry about gas prices. Gas prices are dropping already, guys. They dropped 8 cents. Whoa, I didn't know. Yeah, we already know. Anyone that knows what God knows the truth about our world and that, we already know that the governments fuck with each other. It's all an elitist whole, a bunch of fucking assholes that want to control because they want to be God themselves. But they know they can't overstep, just like demons know they can't overstep. So, are they demonic? Yeah. Anyone that tries to control someone's free will completely, you can give advice. But anyone tries to control free will completely, like, especially when they are disciplined and they're old enough to know better. No, I could say that they're demonic to a certain extent. Of course, it's not everybody. So when we look at life, you look at your life from the past and now. You said, okay, well, I had a lot of love in that. I said, when was the turning point? There's always a turning point. Like, when was a turning point where you gave into the world and the world started to eat you alive? Or when was your turning point? You gave into God. You gave into the will of Him, and you start to go through all these dramatic struggles now. When I say world eats you alive, it basically is condemning your soul into hell. That's why I'm trying to say. You'll get rich fast. You'll get your job fast. Fuck, you even get married fast. You'll like all kinds of things happen. As long as you don't believe. Let's say, well, marriage is, is what God wants to do. God wants to do that, but if you don't believe, then it doesn't matter. That's what Jesus said. Focus on me, believe in me. Truth will set you free. He keeps telling us to do these things because he knows that the devil is going to try everything in his power to try to condemn us, however which way it is. Even to give us someone that we love, someone that we're going to be passionate with. If we forget about God and we only think about our woman and our family and that, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to go to hell. People say, well, why is that? I'm not saying you're going to go to hell, but the temptation of going there is a lot. Because we have to take the liberation of creation was from God. Creation goes back to God. We are created, so we go to God. It's hard to do. That's why you see, like, well, we'll go through to this perspective, not how I used to be and how I changed. I used to be part of the world. I used to want to be, a video game player and that. I was playing Halo 2 a lot when I was in my youth and that. When I was in my, high school age and that, 15, 16, 17. I was really good at sniping. Matter of fact, I was so good I could have been a professional. Like, I would literally just be like, I would throw my gun and just pop people's heads off like it was nothing. I was so into that. I was so proud. My pride was just like, yeah, I'm the fucking best. And when I did die, then I would get mad. Like, oh, fuck yeah, I go same position. Go back to the same position because I want that feeling again. I start popping heads again. People rode around on warthogs and I would sit there and follow them. I throw my gun and pow, right in the head, they die. And people would get mad at me because I had the highest score in the game. It's like, oh, you're cheating because you're staying by the sniper. I said, well, no, it's because I'm just fucking good. And I was literally had, we did like an unlimited match. We did it for like an hour, so then we just run around chatting with each other and killing each other. I was so focused, and I was getting so many like headshots. I was getting so many points in that. It became literally impossible to beat me. And then when I said, it's like, you know what? It's like, I'm done doing this. I'm going to run in and let you guys kill me a couple times. Because I had that much fucking effort to be like, I'm going to have mercy. That's when I know. I knew it. I look at myself right now. And when I did that, I said, okay, I'm done winning. Let me lose. And then I start losing. Start having people kill me. Start having battle brawls and shit. And people were killing me a lot in that. And then, because I could go right back in the same position and just fucking just beep, 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 and get all the kills I want. And it's interesting, I got to that position. I sit there and get like, 20, 30 kills and that, and they would get all mad at me. It's like, oh man, so you're doing it again, And it's like, well, it's not my fault, I'm good. And then sometimes they would all team up, a couple of them would team up against me that. They grab the rocket launcher. Of course, we played on the Blood Math, the Blood Path, what the fuck it was called, Blood Gulch. And they would sit there fire rockets at me. I would jump back and jump up and that, and I get a headshot off, and I might miss in that because of being aggroed and that. But the point of what I'm trying to get is, that's how my life used to be. I used to be so good at fucking Call of Duty and that, and I remember when I put my full effort into Call of Duty Vanguard, I was so fucking good. It was fucking fundamentally ridiculous. And I remember, I would sit there. My mind would connect to the map, and I don't know how I do this stuff and that, but all maps are the same. There's always there's always a middle point. If everybody runs full sprint to the middle, you always have people go in the middle, which are close range fires with SMGs and assault rifles and shotguns. So what I do is, I run in the middle of that, and I would time myself. I would wait, like just like 3 or 4 seconds. And I let them move in the middle. They look around that, and then I go in. And it was hardcore. And I was laughing my ass off because I had killed their full team besides like the sniper in the back like a pussy. Whatever. That's his job. I killed a full team, their full team, probably like 2 to 3, 4 times. I think it was like 3 or 4 times. And like they kept getting mad at me because I kept popping up, but they would just die immediately. And they got mad at me at the end of it. And then at the end of it, I called out. I was like, yeah, I killed your team like 4 or 5 times, bro. Your whole entire team just by myself. And they're like, oh, well, dude. I say, you had a pussy in the back that was sniping, which they always do. And what they do is they get leftover kills. So if someone comes in, now they get leftover kills, now they build up their kill streak. So basically, they just go after the fodder. They go after the base. The people suicide themselves in that. And like, the guy was bragging about, oh, I got all these kills, and I'm like, yeah, because you got kill streaks. You kept killing off all the people in that, but I was dominating your fucking team, bro. And you can tell, like, my kill streak was like 5 or 6 people because I kept on doing it. Eventually, I would die. And like, it was hilarious in that. I said, I'm just thinking about myself, dude, I haven't played Call of Duty like 8 years. I dominated you guys. It was fucking hilarious. And it's like, yeah, it's like, you know what? It's like, I got off from that. I'm like, I'm not gonna play anymore now because it's boring. It's boring when you dominate people in that because they're just shit. They're just, they play the game with so much fucking like hostility now they end up being crappy. I think I have to go to work now. So anyway, I'll see you guys later night. God bless.